I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
I'm just off a plane. I just stepped in the door, actually.
Welcome back.
Yep. It's been, it takes a lot to get in and out of Venice, by the way.
Well, hope you enjoy.
It does feel like a banishment to a previous period in history, for sure. Although drifting amongst tourists from everywhere that all kind of act the same way, i.e., oblivious to others and space.
Well, I'm sure you'll do a best and worst of Venice recap.
Yes.
So can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you read about those urgent care workers in Santa Barbara?
I actually did, because I wasn't really following the news because it's a film festival is its own specific, very privileged bubble. But I did see that headline about was that they posted on TikTok. They were making funny, disparaging video, or they thought they were funny.
Yeah. So the Sansum Clinic in Santa Barbara, some urgent care workers had posted images saying like, "Are patients allowed to leave you guys gifts?" And basically taking pictures of like the exam chair with the paper and how people leave fluids and other things on there. And then there were captions like "guess the substance," or like basically mocking
Yes.
these patients and their issues. But after the backlash of the posts, of course, the hospital ended up firing the employees and denouncing their actions, and that patient trust and dignity is their top priority. Obviously, it's super unprofessional and disrespectful.
Yes, all of the above. But also people. I think people need to be allowed to vent, and you have a certain camaraderie with your coworkers in any certain environment where there are very specific complaints. But at the same time, it's like, well, we can't really help our bodily functions, and so it just seems really shitty that that.
Well, I think with social media, because I just saw something about this doctor in Egypt who is in trouble because he makes these videos of him like when these women give birth, it's like him on the gurney with the woman carrying the baby and doing some sort of thing and posting that video. And it's like, beyond just like dignity and professionalism, there's also privacy.
That's like when we sold our last house and the realtors that would come over and take videos for their own clients. It's like, it just, I don't know.
That felt really uncomfortable.
Yes.
That there were strangers in my house who were taking video and then posting them on their own Instagram accounts of like my house.
But yeah, it's just like suddenly there's no way that I can have a say about the privacy of my image, and I think that is even to me that's even more exponentially more troubling when you are incapacitated or being administered medical.
It's just unprofessional, and like, where's I don't know. I think now that everyone has a recording device and some place to put the things they record, it's getting a little out of hand. You could really get in trouble, because what if in one of those videos you mistakenly showed like the computer screen and someone's medical record was up? Like, you shouldn't be doing things like this, period.
It's been out of hand though for a long time.
Also,
it will be our ruin.
If you have a problem with people's bodily fluids, you probably shouldn't be working in the urgent care as a nurse or a whatever. I don't know that all these people are nurses, but in whatever capacity they work as a healthcare worker, I'm not going to use the word professional in their case because they're not professional. You're probably just in the wrong job. Like, and that goes for a lot of people. I'm so tired of people complaining about, like, you're a bartender, okay? So if you don't like dealing with drunk people, then you need to get your ass a new job.
Right.
Or those raggedy bitches at the post office on Fountain in Santa Monica, where a P.O. box is. And if people go to the Yelp page of that post office, they'll see who and what I'm talking about. It's like every time I go in there, they are angry and mad about stamps and packaging and slips. Bitch, you work at the post office, okay? If you don't want to explain to people which slip to put on this package or how much things cost or which box to put the mail in, then don't work here. I don't know why people do these jobs that they have like this like vendetta against. Like
Well,
you're
because they're trapped in it, because it's decent pay and they wouldn't be able to get that equivalent likely. So you feel like you're trapped and it's mind-numbing work. So
that's right,
I
but that's right, and but I think that for the individual, it's like like what that just sounds like hell. So
it
you
is.
because you're trapped, so then you're just going to retire off of this job that you hate,
Yeah, that's
and and like an entire community of people think you're awful.
And it's a cycle that the correspondence with the customers that hate them, and that is the nation that we're living in, and how we treat people, and with what work expectations are.
The one person at the grocery store working the checkout line who seems angry and tired, it's like, just get a new job. You clearly
But
hate
you can't.
ringing up groceries. Like, just get a new job. Like,
That of course that is the initial reaction, but you can't just get a new job. Also, in many cases, it's hard out there. This is a hard city to live in as well, because we're speaking from Los Angeles. So I don't know. You feel the tension out there. It's not good.
sure, but I think people have more control than.
No, but getting back to these healthcare workers, of course, that's extremely unprofessional. I mean, even if they had something like a Slack channel that was internal that they were sharing that shit on, that would still be unprofessional. But you and I have both had friends that are doctors. They aren't above sharing stories.
Well, I know one's listening. I'm not talking about you, but
no HIPAA violations, perhaps. But they need to share something about their lives, and again release kind of the tension and the pressures that are specific. And I think that is appropriate privately amongst coworkers. But that's the thing. Shit needs to stay private.
I don't think it's appropriate. I don't want to hear, like, you talk to a therapist then, because it's like, if I don't want to hear how much you hate your job, because bitch, I don't hate my job the way you do. Okay. That's how things, like, that's how, like, when you're somewhere and someone's not happy with the service they're getting, and then they turn around to everyone else like, well, let's all get mad. And it's like, no, you're mad. You're mad for whatever reason. You're miserable. You chose to come here at a time when you don't have the time to actually wait. Whatever the case may be, I don't think it's appropriate to think that you can just spread your
No,
negativity amongst your coworkers.
No.
There are proper outlets. You can talk to your manager. You can talk to.
I'm saying among your consensual coworkers, if you are making off-color jokes, like we are, I don't believe it's anybody's responsibility to police that. And I think that there's a way people behave that way because it is taboo and they're not supposed to say certain things, and that's funny. And again, if that's amongst two consensual people where that's your little coworker smoking buddy, and that's the way you want to talk all raggedy and shit like that outside, that's between y'all. And I don't think that should be policed per se, because that is private. And I think that if you really dig deep into that kind of behavior, there are explanations for it that shouldn't be just we dismiss these people as trash as well. I mean, we're all in this together and responding to kind of all the shit that we have to deal with in our daily lives. So again,
I think that there is a line, and I think when you're dealing with people's private information, I don't think that you should feel empowered to vent in a consensual dynamic with someone else. Like, you shouldn't be talking about these people, period. When you go home to your wife, like, you shouldn't be doing this.
Of course,
if you work in an office where you're frustrated with the person who does the printer, that's different. That's not violating anyone's privacy. That's just you being frustrated. And I think that's probably more what you're talking about. And I think that's appropriate. Yeah, of course.
Well, you can talk.
But I don't think that you should be like, it's just unprofessional, and there's no excuse. Like, you can't just get through your job by saying, oh, well, I have my coworkers who I can bitch to about the things that I don't like about my job and make fun of patients. No, you cannot do that. You are in the wrong line of work. I think you should be fired. Also, but I agree with you. Whatever private conversations people have, you can't police them. Look, I would recommend that people don't do that at work, like on your smoke break, because if someone were to overhear you, you would be in very big trouble.
Yes, I'm not saying that you should do that. I think it is human behavior that does happen, and that I don't know. There has to be a way that people can be able to express how they feel about things that happen at work as well. Um,
I think
because the other thing is, my mother was a nurse, and dealing with the GD doctors that think that they are above everyone else, and patients that are unkind, and that oftentimes nurses are overworked and they're understaffed. And we actually, on this week's section of movies we watch for fun for Patreon, there's a movie that I watched which dealt very specifically with that. And the amount of pressure that is exerted on healthcare professionals is exponential sometimes.
well, we get into the same debate every time because you and I have very different opinions of what it means to provide customer service and what people should and shouldn't tolerate.
Well, you have to reveal that on both sides of this argument are humans. So I think that a little bit of, like, we can't just throw people away because they did something really stupid.
I think that you make a lot of excuses because you yourself would not be good at these things.
Oh, of course not.
Someone like, but
But
I spent much more time as a service worker, and I do think there are ways to, like, I think I feel like it was my responsibility to find ways to handle my jobs such that they don't drive me crazy and all I do is complain and bitch and moan and make my environment toxic and do unprofessional things. That's not that's the individual's responsibility. And I think sometimes people just need to admit that you are bad at your job, you're miserable, and like who like are you waiting for someone to come one day and like walk into your building and tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, it seems like you're really miserable and you could spend the next 35 years doing this job. Let me save you and help you do your dream job." That's not going to happen, girl. Like
no, of course not.
so I think you come across as more compassionate in this area because you do make a lot of excuses for people because you want those
I don't
excuses
think
made for
I
you.
think that there were repercussions for what they did, and I think that those were correct because the employer, their hands are tied. What are they supposed to do at this point?
I think my
Um,
main point is that there is no excuse. There is no circumstance where like you should be at work complaining about people and their because it's like
but
I've
people are also allowed to make mistakes. It's this kind of situation is, we've normalized behaviors that suggest that they felt like they needed to post that shit on social media, which is really stupid. But that behavior can become normalized, and I think it's also the responsibility of the employer, especially in certain arenas where there are, like, your employees are going to get burned out, and they need avenues for self-care. And how are you checking up on them to make sure that they're okay as well?
Sure, I
So
agree with that.
I
But I'm saying that as a healthcare worker, you spend a lot of time on patient privacy. So
yes,
I
of
agree with you
course.
that people do make mistakes, but thinking that it's okay to post this kind of shit on social media is not a mistake. That is a mindset. That is a group of people who all felt empowered to do so.
Yeah.
And those people should not be working in healthcare. You are not compassionate. You are not sensitive. It's like I've done thousands of people's hair. And this is actually going to segue into the next topic, but the like I almost feel sometimes like I don't know. We are in trouble when hairstylists seem more respectful to their clients than nurses and healthcare workers in a hospital. Because I would never like do someone's hair and then turn around and talk to the other person to make fun of them, like, "Ooh, she had dandruff," and "Ooh, she was balding," and "Ooh, he had the," like, you just don't do that. That's like
Well, no, and I think when you get to a point where you are doing that, that is a sign that you I that's a you're burned out, and somebody needs to recognize that and say, like, look, you need a break, or there needs to be options, like you need some time off, but we don't have that either. So we have
my yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't disagree with you. I just yeah.
it's just shitty. It just, we live in a
My final thought is, do these people, what if that happened to you? I worked for several years in a hospital in a few capacities. And my thought to not get well, I did a lot of things to make the job very palatable for me that I probably shouldn't have been doing, but that was not violating people's
Well,
privacy.
see, but you justified that because you also weren't getting really what you need. That's the thing. We all have different ways that we do things like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's a difference between harming people, like in this instance, being unprofessional and potentially invading people's privacy, mocking people's, and then sticking it to the man. So, like, if you work in an office where, maybe you're stealing staplers when you need them or something, that's very different
Of course, but
than
yeah.
exemplifying that you are not nurturing, you are mocking. When you walk in, no one wants to be at the hospital.
No one wants to be leaking fluids.
No one wants to be leaking fluids. I mean, yeah, people go seeking drugs, right? There are people who just will sit in the ER for 6 hours to get 4 Percocet, and there are people who have mental health issues and they just go because they have nothing else to do.
Mhm.
Yes, of course. But if someone is leaking fluids on the exam chair, they don't feel well.
Yeah, they're most vulnerable.
Right.
They're not choosing to do this. Yes, it's your.
And then to think that as soon as I leave, and also looking at these people, because, initially when the story came out, the outlets blurred their faces, but after they were fired, then we see their faces.
Uh-huh.
And let me tell you something, we could have another hour-long podcast where I go in on these beasts. So it's like, would you want,
But that wouldn't solve anything either,
because I can see from these pictures, some of y'all got dirty asses. If we wiped your ass right now, it would come back with a surprise. And I know that some of these bitches look like they've had some leaky vaginas of their own. So it's like, can you imagine if someone were as insensitive to you?
But you know what? What that says to me, the people that are engaging in this don't feel good about themselves, because if you felt the people that act this way or are harmful, it's because they don't feel good themselves.
I'm very passionate about this because I just would never. Like, I think there's a line that you just don't cross. And it's like respect for other people and integrity. And like when, you could have cut me off on the street and took my parking spot and blah, blah, blah. But then you come in asking for help and it's like, okay, this is when we need to just step up and do what we're here to do and give people the respect that they deserve. And I just think it's really despicable that people think that this kind of shit is okay.
Yes, it is. But what's the lesson to be learned for these people? Should they never be able to be allowed to work in healthcare again? Like, how punitive again do we need to be? Do they deserve to have their lives ruined, their livelihoods? I don't think so. I
don't think so either. I mean, I wouldn't hire their asses.
No, of course not. They, the thing is, it's like you have a long way to go to prove yourself now. But I don't think they should be allowed to do so.
I don't think they should be incapable of making money, but maybe healthcare is not for them.
Well, or
listen, you've met a lot of people who you think
are shitty doctors.
Well, you think like, why did you become a healthcare provider? Like, you are horrible. Or
you have certain hangups about people, like you don't like the gays,
or someone like your mom who's like, oh, she would make a great nurse.
Yeah,
like she seems like that was a career that.
Well, the irony of that is she was better taking care of her patients than maybe administering to other things. But anyway,
well, all I'm going to speak to is that she seems like a nurturer, caretaker. She's very patient. She's very happy to explain.
Yes.
It's like she should do that job. When you see people who seem like, I mean, how many times you go somewhere and it's like, wow, you are really good at your job.
Yeah. And it's a breath of fresh
air.
It's a
breath of fresh air. And so maybe that's why I'm angry right now, is because you just see so many people who are like, you hate this job. And it's not even a good job. That's my other gripe is we're not talking about people making $250,000 a year. And
no, they're probably stuck paying significant student loan. They're trapped. Like, we're all kind of trapped. So I think the outrage, of course, it is despicable, but at the same time, like, what does it solve if we just throw them all away?
I don't think we should throw them away. I think that this should be so to switch it to the positive, I think that this should be a lesson that we need to try harder to make a life for ourselves that makes sense. And sometimes that means taking a risk. Sometimes that means,
yeah, but the context of everyone's individual life and how many children they have, it's like it limits what kind of big risks you might be able to take.
Well, the word the word I'm trying to use is escaping me, but it means like you might have to be okay with having less than, or I don't know. My brain is blank right now, but anyway, I don't want these people to die in a pit. I just think it's despicable, and there are a lot of people out there like that. I mean, I was at my cousin's kids' they was having a party, and their friend worked in healthcare in a capacity, and we were talking about his job, and he was showing me he had all these pictures on his phone of
Yeah.
people's images,
Mm-hmm.
like radiological images. And I'm like, that's really unprofessional. Like, I'm sure that would be grounds for termination. And the fact that you're just like, yeah, let me show this. I don't even know this person. It's the first time I'm meeting you at a party, and you're just telling stories about these people. That tells me a lot about who you are, and you being able to do that means that you could do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
That you would violate someone's privacy. If some celebrity came in, you would tell everyone about whatever you found out about them.
Mm-hmm. And there should be repercussions for that.
My first hospital job, there, like within the first week, because I worked in medical records in my first hospital job, and there was a very, very, very famous celebrity who had visited the hospital. I'm not going to tell this person's business, but within the first week, like several people had told me, like, oh yeah, that person came in and this is what this was, and like very private things about this person. And it's like, that is exactly what HIPAA is for, and y'all don't even care. So I don't know, how do you stop that except punishing people? You know, they lose their jobs and have a hard time finding another one. Maybe you end up having to change your career, like scare people. Like, where is the professionalism?
Well, again, the thing is, there's a whole, based on how things are in this country right now, you know, that there's a whole component of people that are like, I think that shit's funny, and you know, I'll raise money to get these people back on their feet. So I think there needs to be constructive punishment.
Well, we need to move on from this topic to I was going to say, I've always liked Chelsea Handler. I read her first book and I used to watch her show, and she's a little crazy, and in a way I feel like I relate to her a lot in some ways. Mm-hmm. But she does seem like a problem. But anyway, she has her podcast, Dear Chelsea, and she has some really cool guests on there. Recently I listened to, she interviewed Monica Lewinsky, Adam Rippon, and Yamanika Saunders. Actually, that would be if you've never listened to Dear Chelsea, I would start with Yamanika Saunders' episode, because they're actually friends, and listening to those two go back and forth was quite funny. But she has a section where she reads listener letters, like an advice section, and it's funny because, well, she handles it a little bit differently, because they actually read the letter and then they have the person on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So they can ask, so they read the letter, they understand the question, and then they can ask follow-up questions. Which is rare, right? Because usually with those things, people, you know, they'll speculate on what this person's life might be like. And so you're giving advice that's kind of like half-assed, because you don't know all the details.
Right.
But for her, she is able to ask for additional details, and she actually is pretty thoughtful with the advice. Like, she doesn't really try to make it funny, but me bringing this up was to say, like, people should check out Dear Chelsea. But someone sent me a video of this white guy with like straight floppy hair who relayed a story about how he dated this black woman and like messed up her hair by grabbing it, and she got upset, and that he didn't know what was wrong. And so this person asked me to explain. And this person's also white. So I can't speak for this lady, and I can't speak for black women. I can't speak as a hairstylist with curly hair. And I think this holds true for people of all hair textures and densities and all kinds of situations. I don't think people want their hair touched, period, especially if it's done.
No. Why would you?
I would say don't touch anyone's hair. Also, unless you ask. And I wouldn't, and certain people I wouldn't ask, because I would wonder, because people will often ask me if they can touch my hair.
I think some people mean it as an icebreaker. I mean, I get that as a bald man a lot. People want to touch my head.
Don't touch my hair. Like don't come up to me and touch my hair.
Like, you have skin. You know what it feels like.
So I think, just as a general rule, if people just don't touch people without asking, Now, if you're in a romantic situation with
Well, that's
someone,
different. That's
I
just,
think then you can ask, and I would say it's
well,
appropriate,
you're exploring each other's bodies and things. Yes, of course. That's intimate. It's an intimate thing. It's a boundary, and I
but
don't know you well enough to touch like
a
that.
lot of people have a lot going on because they might have extensions, which could be clip-ins, fusions, it could be sewn in. People might feel self-conscious because depending on how I mean, it's very rare that extensions feel nice when you're running your fingers through them.
Uh huh.
So that's kind of a jarring experience for the person touching and then for the person who you're touching. Like it could hurt. It could be embarrassing. You could rip stuff out. Some people have very thin, fine hair. And so they spend a lot of time like using products to build up the hair and they tease it. So you touching it is destroying that.
Well, I think we don't really teach people about sharing space and what in violation of space and boundaries. I mean, look, I think this relates to the fact that we still put animals in zoos and that somehow we think like we need to have cut flowers so that they can be in our kitchen even though they're slowly dying in front of us, when like just go out in nature and look at the shit. Like we're like, you don't need to touch that hair. It's not.
Well, I think you can be curious, but it
Of
has to come from
course.
like a place like don't I feel like as an icebreaker, please don't approach me and ask me to touch my hair or like I can tell when people are curious about me and I don't like that. Like I'm not an animal in the zoo. You can just ask Chat GPT about it. Like don't think that I'm your little experiment. But I do think if you're dating someone, it is reasonable to be curious and try to understand. But I would also just ask, like, is it okay if I touch your hair? And then that person will tell you, like, well, not right now. The other thing is people with textured hair, the more you play with it, the bigger and puffier it gets. And usually that's not what people want. Like, usually I spent time trying to get my hair how I like it. And
Hmm.
if you start grabbing on it, it's going to change. And that's not what I want.
Hmm.
But, I don't know. Like, if I mean, you don't usually touch my hair,
No.
but if you did, I mean, I would think you wouldn't do it in public where it's like, well, I don't want my hair messed up. Plus, there's a lot going on with my hair. Like, I got a lot going on.
You think that? Not really. Compared to my ignorant knowledge and experience with people who have hair, I think there are people that do a lot more than you need to.
I mean, I'm getting older and my hair's thinning, and so I do a lot to make it look as nice as I can, and so it isn't all natural, but it's definitely a
Who?
situation where like I wouldn't want some stranger just like grabbing the back of my head and like, or someone not too long ago did to my head like how when you see little kids and you like grab their head and kind of like
Oh
shake it,
God,
and
no.
I looked at him like I can't. I was beside myself. I couldn't believe that this adult man just did that to me.
Well, was it in a bar?
It was on the cruise ship.
Oh well, same thing.
And yeah, I mean, same thing. But I was so that had never happened to me out in public like that. People have tried to touch my hair, but to fully go in and tousle it.
Ooh,
And so then I immediately went back to my room and like tried to fix my hair because of course I was all
was this
weird
person
about it.
white?
Yes.
Oh well, okay. Check, check, check.
But non-black people have curly hair too. But
Yeah, of course.
but also white people with straight thin hair also don't want you messing up their shit. They
Well,
put a lot of time in to try to get it
and
to look full and nice. And
any y'all out there that have this vestigial patch on your head, I'm sure are doing things to it, and you want it to
the
look that
main
way.
the main point I wanted to get across is it's not just about you can't touch black women's hair. I don't think anyone wants you touching their hair when they spend time trying to make it look nice. Like, and then yes, some people have a little more going on than
Mhm.
others. So I would say as a general rule, you should just ask before you touch someone like that.
I mean, when you put that rug on my head for about a month, and the people that were curious and tried it, I'm like, oh, don't touch.
Now, if you're being physical, like sexually, I think there are certain areas that, like I think people feel like reaching into the hair is kind of like the natural progression.
Or well, at least a lot of men, they're like, well, I like something to pull on. I'm like, okay,
So I don't know. I would say don't do that. But also I don't think people are good at reading body language.
no.
It's like you can't tell that I'm kind of like pulling away or moving my head. Like you're not very attuned to what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes you seem
God,
insensitive and
that just reminded me. I think I saw recently somebody posted a clip from, I think it was the early '90s. Bill Murray and Gina Davis on a some talk show. Is it Letterman or Leno? And it's, I think their movie Quick Change they're doing, and Bill Murray is sitting so close to her, and Gina Davis's body language could not be more apparent.
people don't, I mean, I experience this all the time where it's like, all right now, like, let's wrap this shit up. I don't know how many times to say, okay, all right, all right. And keeps going, keeps going. Why are you touching me? Why are you, how many times are you going to ask me? Like, yeah, I think that's a lesson learned. I don't know who's out here teaching the kids, but
Nobody. Nobody.
okay, I spent way too long talking about this stuff. Moving on to 5 on the black hand side, 5 black filmmakers who are not Tyler Perry. Who's first?
Well, I just returned from the Venice Film Festival, so it is a Venice Film Festival related uh, coterie of names this time, and it's from the African diaspora. So I was curious. I was trying to look through the lineup of black filmmakers that were in attendance this year, and there were a handful of them. So I'm highlighting them. But so again, this is like an African diaspora. They are from all over. That was the theme I was going for this time. But first on there, I have Susanna Merghani. She's actually half Sudanese, half Russian, and I saw her debut film called Cotton Queen, which was like, oh God, this title's interesting. I will say it was a little rougher on the edges, but very much worth your time once that finds distribution and you are able to see it. Next on my list is Mariam Touzani, who's from Morocco. And I've seen a couple of her previous films, including one called Adam. I highly recommend The Blue Caftan. She was there on hand with her new film, Kaye Amlaga, which I did not see, but I heard good things about. Next on my list is Rashid Bouchereb, he's very well known. I've seen quite a few of Mr. Bouchereb's films. I think he had some Oscar glory a while ago for a film called Days of Glory. I like London River. He remade an old Alain Delon film, Two Men in Town, in 2014. Road to Istanbul. I remember reviewing out of Berlin. He was there with a short film that I did not see this year called Boomerang Atomic. But he has, I mean, he's also a notable producer. He's, yeah, quite well known.
Next.
This is also a new heavy hitter on the scene, is Kauthar Ben Hania, who's a Tunisian director. And I have seen 2 of her previous films. But the big news this year was her in competition title, The Voice of Hind Rajab, which we will get into it in my rundown video from the best and worst of Venice. But this was the film, once it played, that every journalist and people were on either side of the aisle about it, like this was going to win the Golden Lion. But she ended up taking home the second place prize, the Special Grand Jury prize. But yes, very notable filmmaker with, I don't know, 6 or 7 films under her belt now. And the last one on this list is Jihan K from Libya. And he was at the Venice Film Festival, I also believe, with a debut, My Father and Gaddafi, which I did not see.
Well, thank you for that. Do you have anything for us in the restaurant section?
Oh, I had forgotten to write that. Venice does have good food. Venice has a lot of tourist traps. And you know what? I've decided I was eating about 1 meal a day, but I like pizza. I had many, and some great pasta. But I think I already knew this, but I like the prosciutto and mushroom pizzas that a lot of those places have, and I can tell just how much of a tourist trap is based on the quality of the mushrooms. But there was one place that I ate at 3 times. I quite liked it. It was right around the place where I was staying, and it's called Restaurant de Cherubino in San Marco, and I really liked the vibe of the place. They gave me it's customary to get, like a free shot of limoncello after you leave, but it felt really nice. I had one of their pizzas and pasta. I had a spicy arrabbiata. I'm probably butchering these pronunciations. And what else did I have there? Their spaghetti mamma mia. I'm like, what the hell is this? Because there's no description. And it was good. It needed a little salt and pepper, but really great soaking up with the bread and homemade pasta, lovely. And then the other place I ate at twice on the Lido was just barely outside of the main festival circuit. And one time they were completely overwhelmed, and I had to eat with a strange lady, a producer that kept talking while I was trying to eat. And what did I have there? The Brazino. It was the person I was eating with recommended that, and that was probably the healthiest meal that I had there, and also quite good.
I wanted to complain about there's a chain of bakeries called La Monarca.
Which sounds like monarchy every time we drive by those.
Well, there's one very close to our home, and then there's another one that's also quite close. I usually go to the other one because it has ample parking in the morning.
This one on that corner of Santa Monica.
Well, that's just impossible. There's no we would just have to walk there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one on Sunset that has an easy parking lot. But and then my mom used to live near one, so when I would go see her on the weekends, I would usually stop by and pick up some lattes and some pastries. And so it's a panaderia, so which I love, pan dulce. And I will say, you either like it or you don't. And I would say like theirs are good. Mm-hmm. I think they're a little overpriced, but I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about their hot food. So they have breakfast items. They have like toast that has like beans and cheese or chorizo and some nonsense, and then they have breakfast burritos, breakfast sandwiches. And so I've tried, I think, almost everything on the hot breakfast menu, and I finally had my final straw this past week because all of it's nasty.
God.
All of it's nasty.
Why'd you keep going?
Because, well, so they have Cafe de Ollo, which I like.
Yeah, but you can get that. We're in LA. You can get that a lot of places.
Well, I don't know where. That's easy
Breakfast
to
Republic?
park. Well, I'm not going to go to Breakfast Republic to order it to go. You know what I mean? So for convenience, this place is the easiest.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, maybe I just need to find the right thing that I like. But all of it's bad. All of that hot breakfast food is bad. It tastes like, remember, oh God, what was the brand? Was it Lean Cuisine? Remember, because we used to eat them where the pizzas, you would use the box and flip it and there'd be like this metallic thing that you put. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Their shit tastes like that.
Ugh.
Yes, exactly. All the breakfast sandwiches I've had taste like the frozen breakfast sandwiches at the grocery store that you put in the microwave for 30 seconds and then flip it from the terrible.
Yes, and full of chemicals that are great for your body.
But I don't understand because I see them pull it out of a drawer almost like they were made and then put, like they pre-make them, put them in a refrigerated case, and then they put them in that like the toast with bean and cheese, they put through this like toaster that goes really slow. And then for the sandwiches, the burritos, they put them in like one of those, restaurant microwaves that have some different kind of radiation. I don't know what they're doing. Most places like Starbucks and Coffee Bean and Pete's, all their breakfast sandwiches are pre-made and they just microwave them.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, I think Coffee Beans are probably of the three I mentioned, my least favorite. They taste real fake to me. I guess Starbucks would be, for what it is, like taste a little more like food. But yeah, La Monarca, y'all, I don't know. That hot breakfast food is garbage.
Well, now you know never to get it again.
And lastly, in the restaurant section, I want to heed a warning about the large spice bottles. They all look the same.
What are you talking about?
Like we have like a cabinet that has
you were
all
making
these spices.
Food. So what did you put? Turmeric and paprika? Get those shit mixed up or what?
I mixed up paprika with cinnamon.
Yeah. Oh, you put paprika on sweet potatoes, didn't you?
Yeah. It all looks the same. All the bottles are the same shape, same label, and then the spices are the similar color.
Paprika is red and cinnamon is brown.
So, like, I don't know. We need to mark these differently because it's very easy.
Well, I don't make that mistake.
I was mad as hell. Wasted a full batch of.
Well, you could have rinsed. Well, so I'm assuming you baked them and then figured out afterwards. You probably could have rinsed them. You could have done some damage control, but it's fine. I would have done that for you, but I wasn't here.
I don't want rinsed sweet potatoes that you tried to get the paprika off and then.
There are ways to fix things. Okay.
just start from scratch.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well,
Okay, films released we didn't cover.
Reifenstahl, a documentary about that Nazi documentarian, Triumph of the Will. I would be curious in what to watch this, but I was gone. But that came out this week. But it sounds kind of fascinating because I really don't know. I watched that once years ago in college, and she's an unpleasant name to have to think about. But anyway.
And then The Baltimoreans.
The Baltimoreans, a new Duplass brothers film. Well, it's directed by Jay Duplass. That sounded kind of amusing, but about a sober man in a dental emergency on Christmas Eve.
Okay, projects of interest.
I didn't have time to do a lot of research, so I only had one because I received a press release email before it was announced, but I sent it to you.
Well, people also sent like an Instagram links about RuPaul.
Well, I got that before all of it. I get those emails because they want publications to publish them like that. So, this was hot off the presses when I first read it. A RuPaul action comedy that's untitled so far, to be directed by Adam Shankman, who I'm sure I bitched about before because he directed the Hairspray remake, but he pops up as a guest judge all the time on Drag Race, and he reminds me of somebody that we used to know and rubs me the wrong way. But this sounds raggedy.
I of course will watch it, but I can't imagine that it would be like it can't be a serious movie.
No, of course not. But it just sounds like these people can't pull this off. Because another mutual friend of ours said on Instagram, it sounded like it's going to be just an extended maxi challenge. That's how dumb it sounds.
But again, I'm sure I'll watch it.
Of course, but I don't have high hopes.
All right. Unfortunately, there are entries in the obituary section. Giorgio Armani died, who, of course, is the iconic, that this word is fitting for him, Italian fashion designer who obviously founded Armani. He was 91 years old.
Yeah. But Isabel posted a little picture with herself with him. That's why what broke the news to me.
His legacy is
unparalleled.
Yeah.
Well, paralleled by some, but
sure. But there are a few.
There are very few. Yeah.
And then Greene died, an actor who, what would I best know him for?
Oh, my mother loved Greene growing up. For whatever reason, the movie,
I recognize him.
The movie Thunderhearts with Val Kilmer always stands out in my mind because he's got a prominent role in that. Dances with Wolves.
I don't think I've seen that.
The Green Mile.
And I haven't seen The Green Mile.
Oh, he popped up in a lot of supporting roles as well, especially towards the last half of his career. But
I definitely recognize him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we probably reviewed something with him.
He was 73 years old. Yeah. Okay, then Mike De Leon died, a Filipino film director.
Who I'm not familiar with. I think one of his bigger titles is called In the Wink of an Eye from the early 80s. But yes.
He was 78 years old. And Eucebio Poncela, a Spanish actor.
Yeah, he's got a few major credits to his filmography, including with Almodovar's Matador and also Intacto, which I watched years and years ago, which I need to rewatch.
He was 79 years old. The secret film this week was my choice, and I chose the 2013 American supernatural horror film, The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. Why did I choose this? Because, well, this podcast drops on the same day we're going to see
the new one.
The new one, because we weren't here to see a press screening.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, you weren't here. So we're seeing it today. We're recording this obviously earlier, but we're seeing it today. So I wanted to just rejog my memory, as Tony Braxton would say, And yeah, I
You saw this with me originally. I believe it premiered at the LA Film Festival in 2013. So I took you to it, and I have a clear memory of seeing Alfre Woodard outside on the street standing there.
baby, I do not remember this movie. And then, so I've only seen it once with you.
No, and then for some reason we watched it again that same year in October. I think we were hanging out with a friend group we no longer see, and that was, this was a popular movie that year. So I don't remember the second screening of it, but this is now the third time I've seen this film.
What is The Conjuring about? Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. So the film starts by saying this is based on a true story. So Ed and Lorraine Warren are real people.
Uh-huh.
They're paranormal investigators and soldiers for Christ.
Demonologists. But I was familiar with them before this because there's a documentary called My Amityville Horror that I think I had to review years and years ago, and you see the real Ed and Lorraine much older, and I mean they didn't sway me with anything they had to say in that documentary.
So I remember people thinking this movie, the 2013 movie, was like the scariest thing they'd ever seen, and I don't know. I mean, I must have liked it okay if I agreed to watch it a second time.
I think it was just okay. I'm a much bigger fan of Insidious. I like James Wan for the most part, but I remember being cool on this. But I feel even more so 12 years later.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler, I just thought this movie was all right. It's all right.
It's so unserious. But the opening segment with the very nice font tells us that this is pre Amityville for them, and it says some statement about how this is the scariest thing from their case files. So it's like, if this is the scariest one that we're getting, why do we have 4 more movies?
Exactly. I like, man, whomever thought that was a good idea is like, so you're just said, well, but then the rest of the movies were also
they
successful,
diminishing returns for sure. Yep.
But yeah, like, why would you say that and then proceed to have like an entire universe around it? But anyway, the story is about the Perrin family, this family of mom, dad, and 5 daughters who move into an old farmhouse somewhere in Rhode Island in the early 1970s.
Ava, Juan, and anyway.
But the film opens with Ed and Lorraine. So Ed is played by Patrick Wilson, and Lorraine is played by Vera Farmiga.
Yes.
And we see them dealing with the Annabelle doll case. There are a couple nurses who, that shit was so raggedy.
The first thing I wrote down, because these nurses, these young ladies, are saying, what is it? This spirit contacted them and asked them to inhabit this doll.
Baby, that is my first note. I can't believe these dum-dums were like, yeah, if you want to inhabit the doll.
That dumb blonde goes, we're nurses, we help people. Shut up. Talking about the professionals. Maybe we need maybe these.
Well, me complaining is like, I don't know if we need nurses like them either, because that's dumb as hell.
It comes full circle. Throw them away, you dummies. Yeah, let the demon come in my house in this doll. No.
And so we see that, that this Annabelle doll's possessed, and Ed and Lorraine are explaining what's going on. But the purpose of that is to kind of like foreshadow what these people do. But the bulk of the movie is focusing on the Perrin family. Mm-hmm. So the plot is very simple. This family start experiencing like disturbing events. The mom, who's played by
Lily Taylor, who's giving a lovely little breathy performance and very out of place.
Well, we'll get back to her. But she starts experiencing bruising, like random bruising on her body, and like the family dog is found dead. They find like the clocks keep stopping at like 3:07 a.m. and then the children are seeing and feeling things, like unseen things. But one in particular is seeing a spirit named Rory.
It's such an unserious name. Rory.
So the mom, whose name is Carolyn, she seeks help from Ed and Lorraine Warren. She, I guess, finds out that they're giving a talk at some university, and Carolyn bum rushes them.
Well,
in a
someone
really
introduces
annoying scene.
Someone introduces them.
Yeah, but she bum rushes them because she's like, my family and my house, and you have to help me. And Patrick
Yep.
Wilson saying, well, we don't really, like we can't really do that. Well, you have kids. What would you do? Like,
That's the other thing. They do have a kid I straight up forgot about, Judy.
yeah.
Is Judy in the other films? I don't remember.
Well, we're going to get back to Judy because there's a funny scene with her. But, Lorraine, Vera Farmiga, I think she does the best out of everyone in the film.
I enjoy watching her. It's kind of, I think she understands the assignment.
Yes. So she agrees to help Carolyn and her family, and the Warrens go to their house, and immediately Lorraine, who she's like a clairvoyant or something, a medium.
She's very vulnerable though with her gifts.
She is vulnerable. Yeah, which is a touchy subject between them. But she immediately senses like a dark, malevolent spirit.
Yes, yes.
So then she realizes, or through her research discovers that spirit is the evil spirit, because there's also this little boy Rory who's not evil, but the evil entity is this woman named Bathsheba, and she was a woman accused of witchcraft like in the 1800s, and she owned this farmhouse. She sacrificed her infant like to the devil, and then hung herself outside.
Well, a lot of good that did, huh?
I didn't even remember that because before I watched the movie, I made the thumbnail for what's going to end up being the YouTube video of this podcast. And I should mention, because apparently people are hearing ads during the podcast, and so I think I need to explain. We record the podcast for Spotify. It's intended for Spotify and Apple Podcast and wherever else you get your podcast. But YouTube allows for the podcast to be synced.
Yes.
But they come with the Spotify ads. So that's
so there are ads on YouTube.
Yeah, and even for people like who pay for YouTube Premium, which I do,
they still have to listen to Spotify ads.
Yes. So there have been messages about that, but I appreciate people's patience, and we do get money from the ads, so you are in a way contributing. But
I hate ads, so I don't know.
Bathsheba's they're jarring because they just pop up like I'm not choosing where the ads go. They just pop up. And so it's kind of jarring sometimes. Like we'll be talking about something and it's like Morongo Casino.
Like,
oh my God.
Or what was that Drew Barrymore ad that used to play on when we watched it on Tubi? It's like, oh God, she's in this. Oh no.
But okay, so Bathsheba is this crazy lady who sacrificed her infant to the devil and then hung herself in the tree in front of the house. But I was saying,
like sinister.
I made the thumbnail for the YouTube video podcast, and I used the image of the house with the noose. And when I tell you I had no idea what that noose was, like I really did not remember anything about this movie.
There's a lot I didn't remember, including a lot of garbage supporting characters. Anyway, do go on.
But basically, Bathsheba cursed that land and anyone who tried to take it. So of course, subsequent owners have experienced this, cursing, possession. Also, them trying to explain the difference between a possession and a and a haunting and a physical items. And it was a little too much. Like, how what are your qualifications? But anyway, also, my very first note actually was, do they get paid?
I don't think so.
What are Ed and Lorraine doing?
They get coupons. Well, based on her Vera Farmiga's wardrobe, I'm like, oh, where are you getting this? Where are you getting these clothes?
So that's the malevolent spirit in the house. So who's Rory? Well, Rory was a kid who used to live in the house, and his mom was also possessed or being haunted by Bathsheba. And Bathsheba's goal is to get these mothers to kill their children.
So it's like a white version of La Llorona.
Yeah, actually. And the curse of La Llorona is part of this universe.
That's right.
Yeah. But so then that's what is going to happen to Carolyn. She's going to become possessed with Bathsheba, and try to kill her kids.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one of my notes is they have too many children. And you know why I think that? Because the screenwriters couldn't be bothered to characterize them all. So why not?
yeah, I don't understand why they need. I mean, I guess if it's based on a true story,
Whatever. No, it's not.
y'all don't need 5 girls.
You know,
Like,
just write what you can, and anything else just cut out. Okay.
let me finish this story. So, of course, things escalate, and then there's this issue of like, we think because Carolyn becomes possessed, she needs an exorcism. And I hated, we'll get back to it, but I hated the scene where the Warrens go to try to convince the church to approve an exorcism. Ultimately, they do, and we'll get back to it. But in the climax, when Bathsheba has fully possessed Carolyn and she's trying to kill her daughters, everyone because you already mentioned this coterie of supporting characters. All these people are at the house trying to drag Carolyn's crazy ass out.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't, because if she leaves the house, Bathsheba will just kill her.
Uh-huh.
So that's when Patrick Wilson, Ed, who earlier in the film had said, I've never performed an exorcism
Because he's not authorized.
because I'm not sanctioned to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you do all this other shit. Like,
I know, like
who approved you to be a paranormal investigator?
But it's like, wait. Who's gonna know?
And who's gonna know?
Do you have to register it with an ISBN number? Like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah. Like, so that's when it's like, oh, it's go time. Like, Ed has to perform the exorcism, which we will get back to, but that shit was so raggedy.
I would rather it's like
anyone can do it.
Lynn Lee Daniels, The Deliverance with Ingenue. Like what?
And so, of course, it helps, but it's not enough. It's actually Lorraine who reaches Carolyn like emotionally by relaying a story about her family at the beach.
Good thing they had that day at the beach that we talk about so goddamn much.
So the combination of Ed's exorcism and Carolyn's kind words allows Carolyn to regain control of her body. And I guess Bathsheba's defeated.
Bathsheba ain't shit.
So the parents are freed from the haunting. And then in the end, we see that the Warrens return home, and they add, because I didn't mention this, but in The Conjuring, we learned that the Warrens have, like, in their basement, all the haunted artifacts that they believe should be here, and they can keep them safe. And every week or whatever, a priest comes and blesses the room.
So the Demon Museum.
We need to get back to it, but they place an artifact from this haunting, which is a music box that Rory would communicate with. And then
Yay.
And then in the final moments, it's sort of hinted at that maybe like their next case could be the Amityville haunting. The end.
Thankfully, that's well documented, real story.
Where to begin?
This movie.
Well, okay. I want to talk about their basement. Because
whose basement? The parents?
The Warrens.
The Warrens.
Oh, you're right, because the parents' basement is also like a dangerous place to be. No, the Warrens. So where they keep all the artifacts, because recently, like a month ago, the comedian Matt Rife, he announced that he had.
Oh, that's right.
He basically owns the Annabelle doll.
Okay.
And so I was trying to do research, and it's not quite what it seems. So basically, Matt Rife and this other person purchased the Connecticut property that once housed the Warrens' home and the occult museum. So Rife and this other guy are like the legal guardians and caretakers of the paranormal collection, but for like a 5-year lease.
Okay.
So they're not the actual owners. It's the Warrens family who technically own. So I'm assuming that basically they have leased it out to generate revenue, because then I'm sure what Matt Rife and his partner are going to do is like maybe make a museum and draw traffic to it.
Since the family's not making money off of exorcisms any longer.
So yes, they do own the property, but they only have like caretaker rights. But I thought that was an important thing to mention, because the Annabelle doll is kind of a big part of this film, because my next note is early on, we see Ed giving a tour to someone, like I think a detective or someone,
Or a journalist.
or yeah, this
Remember,
black
because they
man.
comment about it, he's not a non-believer, and Vera Farmiga is like, how refreshing.
Yeah. And he's explaining like what goes on here and how like it's better for us to keep it close. We can keep it safe and we get it blessed. And then we find out that the Warren's daughter likes to hide out down there. And he tells her, I wrote it down. Oh, I didn't write it down, but he basically tells his daughter, like, you can't come into the demon warehouse no matter what.
Did you touch anything? I
And
hated the camera work in that scene because it looks like there's a creature because she's like on the level of the ground.
Right. I just hated that because, like, well, then maybe you shouldn't have all this shit in your home with your child.
Yeah, see, but they're not making enough money to pay for a storage unit museum.
I just hate that all this shit that's like all this demonic paraphernalia
Tchotchkes.
is just like in someone's basement in Connecticut somewhere.
These
Like,
tchotchkes.
shouldn't the church be like, I don't know. I feel like wouldn't the Vatican keep this safe somewhere?
I mean,
don't
even
know.
the Ghostbusters knew they had to have it in some tank that you can't ever.
Okay, what do I think about the performances? So we mentioned Vera Farmiga's like I think she understands the assignment the best. I have always liked Patrick Wilson ever since Angels in America.
Oh, of course, yes.
I do think in this role, he is so hammy. He is chewing through this dialogue. His accent work, it's almost like it's not even going in and out in a scene. It's like one scene he has it, one scene he doesn't. It's almost like the director was afraid to tell him.
Well, James Wan's his little buddy, I think.
He was afraid to tell him, like, girl, we're not consistent here.
Yeah, he's hamming it up, and I was rolling my eyes almost every time he said something.
Oh gosh, when he gets to the parents' house and he comes to a door that's like tied up, and he asks, why'd you tie this door down? Well, because it's always knocking. And he goes, it comes in threes.
Oh God.
Stops at dawn. Well, it can sometimes be an insult to the Holy Trinity. Like, it just, this dialogue is terrible to me. And then he's explaining to someone at some point about hauntings. He goes, sometimes when you get haunted, it's like stepping on gum. You take it with you.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if we have actual recordings of the Warrens speaking and they did say dumb shit like this, then work. But then, like you already mentioned from like the footage you saw of them, they're not very compelling. Like,
no.
Who thought that these people? I'm more convinced by the Ghostbusters. Okay. The family. So the daughters are whatever. Is one of the daughters Joey King?
Yep, your little buddy.
Oh my gosh. It just hit me.
Yeah, that's Joey.
Wow.
Screaming in bed. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the kids are whatever, like
trash, throw them away.
And Ron Livingston, minus his hair, I thought he was okay.
That hair is bad. Ron's okay.
But Lily Taylor, who I think seems like a very lovely woman.
She seems just like a sweetheart, yeah.
But her is Carolyn. What?
Valerie Solanas, but who shot Andy Warhol.
Oh, that's right. But I don't think her casting was right.
No, she seems like a lovely suburban mom, and the parents seem
very working class, kind of lowbrow.
Oh, with the shit that Patrick Wilson, that Ed is saying, they are lowbrow enough to be like, yup.
Yeah, I don't think that her casting made sense, and her performance was very strange to me.
She's so quiet and breathy.
You then have some supporting people, like some people that are there to help the Warrens, and
I think that was a bit to kind of get that Insidious energy.
Vibe. Yeah, that I thought was corny,
terrible, because one of them is a cop that's not a believer, and somebody's cajoling him constantly. Somebody else with bad hair, some young man.
You already mentioned the beach scene, but so it's referring to, at one point, Carolyn, the mom, shares with Lorraine that she has a really happy memory. Well, there's a photograph of the family at what's supposed to be a beach, which we'll get to.
Looks like a Walmart film studio.
Yes.
But yeah.
But because Lorraine is clairvoyant, she sees the picture and goes, oh, that was a really beautiful day at the beach for you. And Carolyn's like, how could you know that? I don't think it takes a clairvoyant to see, like, if you have a framed picture of you and your family at the beach, I would assume that was a nice day
But
at the beach.
we get flashbacks of it, and it's really literally them running on the beach screaming, "Yay!"
It's really bad. And what's worse than the actual scene is the photograph, because it looks like when that scene was shot, they were actually at a beach. But then the photograph looks like they had to take it. Like, why didn't they just take the picture at the beach? Like, maybe the director forgot. So then
Or they didn't get one they liked. I don't know.
so then, like you said, it looks like they're at like Sears and someone put like a sky background. It just looks so terrible. There are creepy-ish moments, and I don't know if my coolness towards the film is because this formula is so, like, now 12 years later, how many films have we seen that feel very similar? I mean, not necessarily with the Warrens, but with some person who knows about these things, and then we have to watch this family go through the same crescendo of events to ultimately extract the demon from the person or the house. So I don't know if that's what's making me a little bored with the story.
I think it just we're oversaturated again with this genre since there's been a resurgence, and it's just not well done.
So to be fair, I'm trying to look at it like, oh, like the first time I saw it 13 years ago. Yeah, there are some moments that I think are genuinely kind of creepy. And honestly, I think if there was like a screening of this at a cute theater and someone wanted to take me and it was like a Friday night, I think I would have fun with it because it is a little ridiculous and a little campy. But that would be it. The other thing is, because I know people who really believe in like possessions and demons, and so this kind of shit chills them to their core.
Calgon, take me away.
And because I don't, to me, it's more like, well, can you create a mood and the eeriness?
Yes, I can.
And this film is not successful.
No.
There are some shots that I think are like, oh, that was a good idea. If this movie were not kind of silly, that would have worked. There's a scene like with sheets hanging on a clothesline outside, and then one of the sheets flies with the wind and it clearly gets trapped on a body.
It's Gone with the Wind fabulous.
But then it's like an apparition. I thought that was a really cool.
Yeah.
And then when we see Bathsheba, I think she looks like someone wearing like prosthetics and makeup.
She looked like a prototype for what would become the nun.
Yeah. So yeah, there are a couple moments when we spot her. Obviously it's like what you don't see, like the one scene where the one daughter is saying there's something in the corner.
He's right behind you.
He's right behind you and I can smell it. That was genuinely creepy. Probably the most creepy moment. I think them going down the basement the first time where Carolyn falls, I think because she feels so out of place to me, that didn't really do anything for me.
There's a demon. Is it inhabiting one of the girls, and she's screaming over and over again, look what you made me do. Look what she made me do. She kept screaming, and I thought Taylor Swift is there.
God. Okay. I was a little confused how much time the Warrens have spent at this house, because at a point, Ed is rebuilding the dad's Chevy. That seemed crazy.
Well, and they get this whole team. I swear that when we saw this originally at the premiere, that the scene where they're doing the setup, the Paranormal Activity bullshit setup, that Hurdy-Gurdy Man was the song used on the soundtrack. But when I just rewatched it, it's time of the season.
Oh, I did notice that. I wonder if for licensing purposes they had to, like for streaming, they had to.
Because I think I remember, I think I wrote a review for this film and I referenced, because I like the Hurdy-Gurdy Man song. And I swear that I heard that in that moment, and it's not there no longer. Anyway.
The scene where the Warrens go to the priest, I hated that scene.
That stupid ass priest is like, but the kids aren't baptized.
This is complicated because the kids aren't baptized and the parents aren't members of the church. And then he goes, I'll push it through myself. Like it's a bank loan.
Can we get him through on a Sam's Club membership?
Like what?
So stupid.
Shouldn't you be helping people? Like, aren't you soldiers for Christ? Wouldn't you want to expel demons and banish demons, or only for like card holding members? That felt crazy.
Well, it's just like, yeah, isn't one less demon in the world better for your team too? I don't know.
In the climax, when it's clear that Carolyn can't leave the house and Ed has to perform the exorcism, a bootleg, unsanctioned exorcism. Lorraine looks at the husband, like
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn's husband,
Mm-hmm.
and she says very
Ron.
seriously, Ron Livingston, she says to him very seriously, understand this. We are now fighting for her soul.
Well, because Lily Taylor's screaming, what's his name, Roger's name, and she looks pretty raggedy at this point, and it looks like she's gonna die. And don't they have the sheet over her head at this point?
Yes.
And it's just like, we're fighting for her soul, but it looks like she's gonna die.
And then my final note related to the exorcism is in so many movies, it's like they vomit up the demon.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote down, if only I could vomit up my demons.
Yes.
If only I would be so cleansed and free right
I
now.
wrote they destroy these people's house, the flooring in this house, and I wrote that I guess y'all need exorcism insurance because you're gonna have to pay for all
Yeah,
that.
forget earthquake insurance. Okay, so
My last note was at the end when the storm has cleared and everybody's reunited. Ed and Lorraine are out on the porch, and he says to Lorraine, "You did good." And I wrote, "White, what level of education do they have?"
oh, I don't even know what themes. I mean, this is hard because it's like faith versus evil. Like I don't know. These stories just seem so basic
Well,
to
just
me.
like they just pray the demon away. All Patrick Wilson's done is shout a little bit, and Bathsheba's gone.
It was so easy.
And then Vera Farmiga's working on her, touching her forehead, and being like, "Remember that day at the beach? Don't you want more days like that?"
This movie was a hit. It grossed over 320 million worldwide against a $20 million budget.
Jesus Cristo.
It also launched the Conjuring universe because we have the Conjuring, the Conjuring 2, the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And then there are spin-offs like the full Annabelle series,
Yes.
The Nun, and The Curse of La Llorona.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly people like this stuff. And, I like horror and I will watch. The thing is, though, nowadays, I agree to watch PG-13 studio horror films because I know that most likely they're going to be like a shit show and it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can't deny that this was sort of the start of something much bigger. And I don't remember what I thought 12 years ago, obviously, but I must have thought enough to think, let me watch it again. Upon a rewatch, it wasn't as fun as I guess it might have been originally to me, but here we are.
I can't deny it. I didn't really love it when a while ago, and I think it's been further tarnished by a heap of films that are really doing the same thing over and over again. That said, I'm very happy that Vera Farmiga is still getting really nice, juicy paychecks from this because I think she is the best part, and she's kind of a lot of fun with those big eyes, and she's so serious. It's camp, like in the middle of all this garbage,
mm-hmm.
And Ed's, because the backstory is the last exorcism they did, the demon latched onto her or something, and she locked herself in the bedroom for 8 days. And
oh, that's right. I'm glad you mentioned that because I had said that there's a little tension around that she's a little more vulnerable because of her abilities, and so they have to be careful.
Yeah, and he's like, "No, I'm going to check it out alone, Lorraine." Like, "No, remember when we got married and you said God brought us together for a reason?" They say that a couple times. It's
this
like, wow.
shit is like, y'all could just, circling back to the beginning of the episode, maybe you need to find a new job. You need to find a new job.
But I was like, what is the steady paycheck? What? How are you paying for anything?
What would you give The Conjuring?
Oh, it gets a whole 2 for me. For the third time watching it, it's down to a 2 for me.
I think it's all right. So I would give it 2.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do we have this week? Well, there's a lot happening because we're both traveling this month. So we have very limited time.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of Patreon films to review.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We might have to, I don't know what we're going to see in the theater. There might not be time. But I think there's at least one thing for sure. Begonia. I need to watch Begonia.
Yeah, you'll see that next week.
But that video won't come out till October.
Right. And then Smashing Machine this week and The Long Walk. We missed the press screenings for The Long Walk because I was gone last week.
What is that?
The new Stephen King film with Glenn Powell.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be seeing that.
Well, I don't know. We need to figure out. Time is limited,
Yes,
and then you die.
that's true.
So was it all worth it?
We'll do just fine. Don't worry.
Was it all worth it, or can I find a new job? Anyway, are you reading anything?
I finished Caught Stealing, so I need to catch up with that. You reviewed the Aronofsky film on your own, but I liked the book quite a bit. And now I'm reading Vineland by
Well, I'd be curious to know what you think.
Changes.
Yeah, because I also
Well, I know Regina King's character. That's a man in the original book.
she was kind of my favorite part. She was chewing up that dialogue too, but it was,
Uh-huh.
but but I'd be curious to know what you think because I liked it.
I liked the book, and now I'm reading Vineland by Thomas Pynchon in preparation for the new P.T. Anderson film at the end of the month.
Hmm. Do you have anything else for us?
No.
Ta ta.